Hello. In this video, we are going to just tidy a few things up with the BeanRun game. So the first thing is that I turned off the player getting destroyed by the enemy. So I'm going to turn that back on. All right, so I just took that destroy player, which was inside a player collides with enemy. I did a comment in front of that to just comment out that line of code. So I'm going to remove that comment. That way the player now does get destroyed. All right, so it's a possibility to do a you lose. Right, so now when I get hit by those enemies, then I get my kaboom and then the player being destroyed. Right, so I'd have to press the play button again to restart the game. And the other thing I'd like to do is that I can jump as much as I want. I can just constantly jump because my code is pretty simple. It just says on key down with the space bar, then player.jump. But I don't always want that to be possible. I only want to be able to jump if I'm still on the ground. Right? So that's the only moment that that should happen. So I'm still going to use this key down on space, right, but I'm going to press enter here to make player.jump depend on whether I'm touching the ground or not. All right, so I'm going to do an if statement. So if something is true, then open the curly braces here. And let me just go ahead and close it like this. All right, so sometimes I do this. I say if 2 is greater than 3, just to remind me that I kind of need my 3 components here. All right, so as long as I figure out whether the player is touching the ground or not. So I could try to figure out a whole collision thing with the platform, but luckily Kaboom just has a function for that. So I can take player, and I can do player dot grounded. That will tell me true or false whether the player is grounded or not. So I want to know when the player is grounded. So if player.grounded is equal to true, and notice I use 2 equal signs here. So anytime you're inside an if statement, you do need 2 equals because you're just asking the question, are they the same thing? Because 1 equal sign changes a variable, but 2 equal signs ask a question whether they're the same thing. So if that's the case, that it is grounded, then I want to be able to jump. All right, so whatever I put between my curly braces of my if statement, that's going to happen. So player.jump should go inside of there. That way, if it's not true that player is grounded, this just won't happen. All right, so that should prevent me from doing multiple jumps then. Yep. All right, so now I can only jump as long as player.grounded is true. And that's just a function that Kaboom has for us. It figures out whether it's touching some object. All right, so that prevented the multiple jumps. Okay. Yeah, and then just to talk about kind of what we have, there would be a few things that we could improve about the game here. We could be controlling the camera a little bit better to make it so if the player gets to the end, that it then pushes the camera along. And we could actually add different scenes to properly handle the you win and the you lose scenarios so that I could restart and everything like that. But this game was really just meant to be a basic introduction into using Kaboom. So to summarize the kinds of things that we learned how to do here, of how to add objects to the game, adding sprites with images, adding just rectangles with colors and everything, and then using those tags, or using the loop function to add in things over and over again, and then using like the collides function to determine when 2 things were colliding with each other, and adding some text to different parts and doing movement with keys, using the key down function to determine if I press something, then to do something. to move the players and all that kind of stuff. So this was a pretty good introduction into Kaboom. So it'd be cool to see the other games that we make in the future.